What's going on, everyone? I'm Encore. This is Tomorrow Never Comes. And in today's video, I want to go over what the Bitcoin price has been doing or has done since its peak to now its lows over the since November of 2021, and where this indicator called the crypto fear and greed index kind of sits in its history along the same path as the Bitcoin price. So with all this that's been happening in the markets, and looking right here at the chart, we can see that, here we are November 10th, and we're going all from November 10th to today. We can just see, visually, whether you're a TA analyst or not, you can just see that there's a nice steady decline, maybe a little bit bump here in March, and then just an epic drop right down. Okay, so what percentage is that in terms of a drop? So if we take November 10th, we roll it down here to, today, and let's try that again. So November 10th, and we're gonna roll it to today's date, which let's make sure is the 2nd. Perfect. So we're looking at 67% drop. Pretty bad, right? And again, I always want to put into perspective. The stock market, if we would pull up, the S&P or the Dow or especially the NASDAQ, we're going to see something similar in terms of the decline as well. But so what does this mean? So we're sitting today here around 30,000, 30,500 is where we're hovering. Now it dips down maybe the 28s, 29s, has gone all the way up to maybe the 32 mark. So it's kind of fluctuating in that range. But look at this. That's a 67% drop from November 10th of 2021 till today, June 2nd, 2022. Pretty heavy decline downwards. Okay, so what is this fear index and where is it? So basically when we're down here, in the orange, reddish, areas, especially down, the lower the number, the more fear there is in the market with that particular sector. And then obviously the more green it goes, the more greed there is in that particular sector. So this is they call it the multifactorial crypto market sentiment analysis. So there's a bunch of different indicators that go into creating this one particular indicator. But you can see the number here. We're sitting at 13. Okay, so that's extreme fear. Yesterday, we were at 17, and we even dipped from yesterday. And last week, we were at 12, not far off from that low. And last month, look, we were sitting at 27. So, double of where we are today. Okay. And I wanted to just highlight the two here. All right. So this price or this chart here combines the two here. So you get the fear and greed index, and you also have the price point. So the Bitcoin price is here on the left margin. And then we got the fear and greed index, at least color scheme wise, is here. Okay. And so when we click on here, it actually shows what the price is, what the date is, and what the score is. So if like I showed in the previous charts, that November 10th was pretty much the peak, and okay, well they have November 15th, right? So 63. Can we get 65? Yeah. 67. Okay, so November 8th they had, and November 10th on the other one. And they have the Bitcoin price at $67,492 US, and the score was 75. So remember, the higher the score, the more in the greed the indicator is, the lower the score, the more in the fear that is. So you can see that the fear and greed index was pretty high. And then consequently after that, all of our drop all the way down to now. And where are we sitting here? Our fear, like we said, our fear and greed index is 13. And they have it around 29,800. So give and take, a few $100s there. So it's a kind of a great indicator of what the market is doing, what the market perceives that particular sector doing, in this case, crypto or Bitcoin specifically. And so what's the point in all of this? And so here's what I want to say. So look, when we're up here in the greens, you have to be wary, right? What's happening in terms of, there's so many people piling into that particular asset, in this case, Bitcoin, that in all likelihood, there may be a drop off. Now, no one knows when that is. No one knows how much that's going to be, but it's kind of a good indicator. If we look back here, this is in November, this is March, this is April 13th. It's at 63,000. and the fear and greed indicator was around 74. So 74 here when we're at 67, 75. So what happened every time that it's kind of hit that top and dropped down, right? So now this is not obviously in the green, and we're dating back here to 2018, November 13th. It was at 6,400. The score was 56. So definitely not the top of where we saw the examples before, 74 or 75 and 74. But what did it do? It went from 6,500 or 6,400, and then the fear and greed index was down to 11. So pretty comparable to where it is now. And that's at $3,200 is where it hit on that bottom. So 6,500, 3,200, about 50%, right? So here we go. We went all the way back up here. And so we're sitting at 2019. This is June 26, 2019, 13,000. Look at the score. The score is at 95, okay? 100 is the max we're looking at here. So this is as greedy as the market pretty much could possibly be. And then nice, slow little bleed, and then just dropped here. Okay, now this obviously was everything that took place in March of 2020. But look at that fear and greed index here, 17. So you're telling me that the market right now is more fearful than it was in March of 2020 when we didn't know what was happening, how long things would shut down. That's where the market was in terms of sentiment. Super fearful, okay? And so the market here was actually topped before all this was at 10,000 and the score was 63. So not that high. But then everything obviously unfolded, and here we're sitting at, well, 9 and 5,000. So again, 50%, right? And this is March 16th of 2020. So 9. Okay, so again, about 50%. What happened here when we topped out in, what is this? This is April 15th, 2021. So again, score was 79, kind of high. And where we topped out there, and then we dropped all the way down to 19. Okay, and what did we do? We went from 63 down to 29,000. So just over 50%. Kind of just in that 50% range. And the score was still not as low as it is today. All right. So now if we take where we are at 67,000 as of November 8, 2021, we have gone, like I showed in the previous chart, the TradingView chart, 67% we've gone down. And the fear is pretty much, at its lowest point that it's ever been, pretty comparable to the previous scores, indicating bottoms. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't go any lower. I just thought that this was a very interesting thing to look at in terms of we've dipped further than we have in the previous lows from peak to lows. And the fear and greed index here has been the lowest that it has been in for some time. But having said all of that, the price is still at 30,000. Okay. Now I know there are people calling for 22,000 and it could dip down to 24, 25. There's always a possibility that happens. Okay. But this just speaks to the testament of the network, the Bitcoin network, the growing support, the growing fundamentals, is that even with a 67% drop, even with a score at almost all-time lows, we're sitting here at around 30,000. Okay, so the strength seems to just be building. Not seems to, it actually is building. On this channel, I always talk about fundamentals and things that are happening under the hood or behind the scenes. This just speaks to it. Now, can it, wick down quickly, hit 20,000 and go back up? Yeah, it's possible. Will it go below 20,000? I'm going to say no, it's not going to do that. There are too many buyers and too many people who understand the long-term fundamentals and long-term prospects that wouldn't allow that to happen. Not even just not allow, we would love to buy more at those prices. I would love for it to dip down to 22, 20, 15,000 and buy as much as I could. I just don't think that's going to happen. All right. So just something to note. It's kind of interesting. And again, this is, we're looking at to 2018. So it's not obviously taking into account years prior, cycles prior. I know they've had 90% dips, 85% dips before, but just from a 2018 to now, this 4-year cycle, I thought it was very interesting just to look at the, where we are in terms of fear and greed index, where we are in relation to just fear, in relation to the fear and greed index and the Bitcoin price. Just something interesting to note, something to keep in the back of your mind, that we are sitting here at all-time highs in terms of fear in the market and lows in the actual index, and yet we're still hovering at a more than respectable price point for Bitcoin. So it bodes well for the future. So just something to think about, something to kind of monitor. I don't use any of this. I don't use these indicators to trade or do anything. I am a long-term holder. When the price dips, that means I get my favorite asset at a discount. So it's like buying your dream house or going on your dream vacation or buying your clothes or your shoes, and you see that they're your favorite ones and you see that they're 50% off. In this case, 67% off. To me, that's a no-brainer. That's for me. That's no financial advice to you, but that's how I kind of see this playing out and what this actually means to me. So, guys, I hope you found value in this video. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it, hit the notification bell. Remember, tomorrow never comes. Invest in yourself today.